Hello everybody, happy Saturday. Thank you all for coming. We're going to try something new today. Try pack even more information into a video so I don't waste your time. And let me just make sure, because I'm on my own today, and make sure all the sound is working and you can hear my voice, because sometimes that doesn't happen. It does. Good. Otherwise, I'd be talking to myself for half an hour, 25 minutes, and I don't want that to happen. Anyway, market cap 1.62 trillion. Volume low, about 43 billion. Bitcoin is now over 42,000 again. It's recovered fully from what was a very worrisome week for many. Bitcoin dominance about 50. Fear and greed is up from 46 to 55, which is great. And BRC tokens are doing well. So thank you all for coming. Let's jump in. And anything I say, of course, is edutainment, not financial advice. Story, forget about that. Let's look at this, and this has already changed since I put this together like half an hour ago. Bitcoin's gone up about $400, but the big story is Ethereum's down 10%. It did have that flash up for a while, and then it came right back down again. Sol's pretty much flat for the week. Binance down 3.4% for the week. ICB is up. Tau, Aptos, XLM all up, a little bit of green, but very mixed all across the board. And what we will talk about a bit today is what's happening with Ethereum, what's happening with layer 2s, where is the money going, and we'll try to figure that out as well. Now, in terms of dollar terms, let's see what we got here. Bitcoin actually up probably about 0.75% at this stage, and that Ethereum down as well. And everything else either flat, down, or up. Again, a very mixed week. Let's look at Bitcoin for the year to date. It is flat, which is not bad. We'll take that. And it's been a super interesting year with the Bitcoin ETF. And as you know, I've been analyzing that on a daily basis as to try to figure out exactly how much is flowing in, how much is flowing out, who's winning, how much net is being drained from the system, what miners are doing. We're going to cover all that today, as well as a ton of layer 1, layer 2 analytics as well. So let's jump in. And first of all, let's go to the ETF news first. This is now 11 days in the box. We'll try to summarize exactly what happened. And this chart below this shows you the movements across the different funds. The brown in the color of poop is Grayscale. So I changed the colors. I hope that's okay with you all. Fidelity is green. Red is Blackrock, the big machine. And the rest are kind of randoms. But ARK is getting quite big because Cathie Wood is putting a lot of money into her own fund. In fact, she spent $200 million last week on Tesla and about $60 million on ARK, or some, I could be slightly off in those numbers, just going from memory and trying to total them up in my head as I get the emails. But the good thing about the line at the bottom, the brown one, is that the bleeding has stopped. And now we had the second least worst day of GBC bleeding yesterday, which is awesome. The other good news is not only have all of the other ETFs absorbed everything that Grayscale has shed, but they've also absorbed an awful lot more. And day 11 was a positive day. 16 million plus went in to the ETFs. And that's even including 254 million of drainage from Grayscale. So not bad at all. A good week. Let's look at what it means for the actual funds itself. This is the ETF Bitcoin Hodl, day 11. What's stunning is over a fifth of all of the Grayscale holdings. They had 619,000 Bitcoin before the ETFs began 11 days ago. 20.3% of that is now gone in 11 days. Stunning. That's 125,993 Bitcoin. And all of that got sucked in to the other ETFs, plus an additional 18,570. So for those who think the ETF has been a failure, it has not. And it's only warming up. Advertising is beginning next week. Places like Google and stuff. So you see a lot of display ads now for these ETFs. It's going to go crazy. Let's look at the actual money flow, what that means. Again, we're talking billions here. The total is pumped into these new ETFs is now $5.8 billion. Okay, that's big. And the amount sucked in is 144,563 Bitcoin. And the bleeding is slowing down tremendously for our friends at Grayscale because their egregious management fee. It's all good news. Let's talk about Blackrock for a second. Now, this article that came out, I recorrected the numbers with my data, and you can see they say BlackRock holds almost 50,000 ETF. They actually hold, by my calculations, 52,443 Bitcoin, and Fidelity 50,048 Bitcoin. By the way, I take the volumes, I take a ratio, I go to their websites, I check the holdings every day, and then I calculate all of these numbers. Some of them might be slightly off, but I'm been pretty accurate for the last 11 days, and I'm getting better and better at calculating these numbers. So again, it's been a very, very, very big success. As this beautiful image of BlackRock surrounded by Bitcoin coins, I thought it was pretty cool in New York City. So for those of you who are looking for Bitcoin to tank, the ETF being a failure, etc., it's not going to happen. Now, I'm going to try a new segment. Let me know if you like this, because a lot actually happened this week, but it's so difficult to cover it all. So this will now be the new mind map recap of things you guarantee. I guarantee there's not one person in this audience that knows every one of these elements here. But I'm going to go through them real quick, starting at that 12 o'clock. Bitcoin active addresses crossed 800,000 daily active users. That's the highest in months. And Solana daily active addresses surpassed Bitcoin over 1.1 million yesterday, when Airdrop dropped $100 million into people's wallets. And that was a lot of the activity driven on the on-chain world. JP Morgan said last week as well that GBTC selling is largely over. I think it was Friday. They said that. We saw that happen already on Tuesday because we knew FTX was depleted. Binance open interest is likely to soon reflip the CME open interest for Bitcoin futures, which is great. US government plans to sell $118 million in Bitcoin. But remember, after what we just showed with the amount of absorption by the ETFs, this is a nothing burger. Even the Mt. Gox stuff that's going to come trickling out, a nothing burger. This market is so hungry for Bitcoin. And now people from traditional markets are now looking at this asset, which has been blessed by TradFi. There's more money coming in, a lot more. In addition, miners selling increasing. I will actually fact check that with a chart, and we'll test that with real-time analytics. SEC will delay the ETH ETF decision. HNT is up 20% after a deal with Telefonica Mexico partnership. HNT is the Helium mobile blockchain system built on Solana. Now, fear and greed fell to 100-day low of 48. It actually fell to 46, but now it's back up at 55. So again, news happens fast and things change so fast in the space. Sui rises 20% on Alibaba partnership. In full disclosure, I got a little bit of Alibaba early last week as well. Mt. Gox confirms 200,000 Bitcoin repayments soon. Again, look how much the ETFs are absorbing. Don't freak out about that. Say addresses grow 3,000% in 3 months, but remember that's from a very low base. I will go over all daily active addresses today as well. Injective supply fully released after last unlock, and the token didn't tank that badly. I still hold it. Solana stablecoin transfers hit an all-time high. Smashed ETH. Wall Street doesn't like Tesla earnings. That got smashed this week as well. Apple Car is now pushed out till 2028. People thought that was going to come. It's not. Toyota chairman thinks EVs will never dominate. That's called clueless. Look at Norway. 86% of all cars in Norway are now EVs. Okay? And the Toyota chairman is saying, no, they're never going to be anything. Crazy. Oh, why are they so stubborn? Anyway, Sweden set to join NATO. SEC's Pierce Hester, she is a rock star, by the way. She said, we shouldn't need the courts to get it right. That's a kick in the nuts for you-know-who, Gary Gensler. And German business outlook hits lowest since C19, which is very bad for Germany. I've been warning about the economy there. I do have a macro video coming up soon. Microsoft and Nvidia hit new all-time highs. So did Meta as well. No, I'm not sure if Meta did, but... And the core PC falls to 2.9%. Stocks are mixed, and Solana Mobile receives 30,000 pre-orders of their Model 2 in just 2 days. So... all the stuff you may have missed, I call that the obscure news segment. But anyway, that's that covered. Let's check on the miner information and see how true that is right now. Let's look at the analytics. So here you can see the actual miner reserves, and it's a bit of an eye chart right now, but this is over the last 12 months. And when it's high, it means they're stacking a large number. And when it's low, it's small. And the numbers are a little hard to read on the right, but they have about 230,000 Bitcoin. Now, in the next slide, you'll see here the actual change since the beginning of the year. The miners have only shed 1,150 net Bitcoin, which is 0.5% of their bag in the last 25 days. So when you read news releases that miners are dumping and shedding their reserves, it's actually not true. It's been up and down, but since the beginning of the year, over the last 25 days, it's actually, you could call it flat, not a big deal. So, and the miners know they need to hold it because they know the price is going up. So they really are very reticent to sell their Bitcoin. In addition, let's look at layer 1s, layer 2s this week, the deltas. So in terms of the winners across everything, 7-day TVL, near 1, up 16%. Stablecoin volume, near, up. Weekly developers, that's Phantom wins, daily active users, Aptos wins, and daily transactions, near wins again. So a great week for Near protocol out there. Well done, Near. Let's look at the top 50 movers over the last 7 days. That's at the top. And over the last 30 days at the bottom. Sui wins both the last 7 days and the last 30 days. Very impressive. It's rare you see them, one token doing both on a weekly and on a 30-day moving. And then on the very right, the worst performer after Uniswap, Cardano, ETH, Uniswap, Chainlink were the worst four for the week. And for the last 30 days, Polkadot, Cardano, Matic, and Near were the worst. So despite Near having great results, it didn't show up in the actual results of the last 30 days as well. And we saw a big weakness in Ethereum as well. Let's try to figure out exactly what's going on. First, let's check in on Chainlink. There's a lot of concern right now that Chainlink is being eaten alive by this up-and-comer called Pyth. I did a should I buy on Pyth? I did buy. And it would technically be part of my Sol alt portfolio. But let's dig into some data here. So a lot of people do see Pyth gaining traction in the market, and it is competing with Chainlink. And in the past month, there was a lot of discussion about how much Pyth, it's such a hard word to say for me, is eating into Chainlink's market share. And I do believe there's a high chance that Pyth will capture a substantial chunk of Chainlink's market capitalization in 2024. And let me step out. That's my main thesis for choosing these Sol alts. Things that do things better, cheaper, faster, have very good early adoption, very good product market fit, and there's an analog competitor from the last bull run of 2020, 2021. Here, this is a classic example of exactly this. Let's look at some metrics for these two. Again, you can see at the very bottom, the actual market cap of Chainlink. It's actually 36.94 times the market cap of Pyth if Chainlink goes back to its all-time high. There's two ifs in there. Also, if we look at the relative market cap, you got $8.059 billion versus $613 million for Pyth. So it is a lot smaller. But Pyth did break into the top 100 market caps as well. So it's growing. When we first covered it, it was a lot smaller. Now, in other details too, I think the number of protocols that are secured by Chainlink is about 346. Pyth has 139. So Chainlink has a lot more, but Pyth already has over a third of what Chainlink has, and Pyth is tiny. So we're looking for the upside growth here. In addition, TVL is about 17 billion on Chainlink, and it's already 2 billion on Pyth. So it's growing very, very fast. Now, let's talk about ETH versus Bitcoin. There was huge excitement a week to 10 days ago. We were saying, oh my God, it's time for ETH to roll. And it did. It had a huge spike. I think it went to $2,700 and fell right back down to $2,100, $2,200. And you can see this reflected here in the ETH Bitcoin chart. And that little spike on the very far right-hand side, this is going back to 2019. And it gives you a good image of where things have come from, where they're going. But the trend is still down for Ethereum, despite that spike last week. And of course, there's some headwinds. There's a whole bunch of people selling, etc. Hey, Jimmy, don't worry about being late. Thank you for coming. So what's going on with Ethereum? So first of all, there's a lot of activity on the layer 2s, but the layer 2s are beginning to branch out and work with other chains. And you've got other things that are built upon things like Ethereum, like Aave. They're moving over to Solana. That's a done deal. That's going to be happening soon, just like other chains did as well. So what's going on? So now we've got Matic here going interoperable, and they will focus on launching their AG layer, which is basically a blockchain interoperability in February. The only bad thing about it is settlement will still happen on the Ethereum layer. So basically they work with other chains, but settlement will still be on Ethereum, so it doesn't solve a lot of the root problems. In addition, what we've got to look at is what's going on with the world. Is there this black hole thing sucking everything in? So let's have a check on that right now. If you look at this, you've got blue, which is Ethereum, and the way it passes money into other chains. Nearly about 60% of what goes out of Ethereum goes back into Ethereum. You've got a lot of stuff now going from Arbitrum into Solana. I haven't seen that big move in a while. But right now, if you just take the flows this week alone from Ethereum into Solana and then from Solana back to Ethereum, it's 2.21x the amount of volume is leaving the Ethereum network and going into Solana. So again, that continues, but now Arbitrum is doing the same thing. It's beginning to lose TVL and a whole bunch of other activities over to the Solana blockchain. This is a quick view of Arbitrum versus Solana, and you can see here where it's all going. All the money that's leaving, the majority is going into, about 48% into Solana. Some is going into Optimism, some is going into Base, Binance Smart Chain, a little bit into Matic, etc. So it's very important to find out exactly where things are going, where the money is moving. Follow the money, follow the developers. Now, in other news too, Cardano, Charles Hoskin made the news this week. He predicts a huge year, the biggest year of growth ever for Cardano, which is great for them. I hope that can happen. But when we look at the data behind where these chains are, things are a little bit messy. And, you know, the huge year for Cardano hasn't quite hit yet. Let's look at daily active users across all the chains. You can see here Solana's 1.161 million daily active users yesterday. Bitcoin 842,000, Matic 615,000, ETH 404,000. So these chains are all very big. ZK Sync as well did really well, 388,000, and then Arbitrum, Aptos, and that is the cutoff there. And then after that we go below 100,000 daily active users. You got things like Base, etc. I'm just going to zoom in on the smaller chains with less than 100,000 daily active users. That is Base, Caspa, Optimism, etc. All the way down to Flow, only has 1,600 users. HBAR, 5,000, ICP, 7,000, etc. And a lot of people don't like looking at this data when they have positions. Cardano's 32,000. But when you look at that, for example, and you can compare this data to Solana, Solana has 39.1 times the daily active users of Cardano today. So let's hope Charles is right and it'll grow 40 times this year and catch up with the rest. Let's look at stocks real quick. Stocks for the week, very strong with three exceptions. Tesla down a whopping 13.6%. Nasty week. Wall Street didn't like lack of direction and got hit hard. And that was unfortunate, but Elon Musk doesn't play the Wall Street game. You've got Intel down 10% and ARM down 10% as well. So, but the rest of the market did really good, and the year so far to date has been really, really strong for many names, including Nvidia especially, up a huge amount, over $300 billion in market cap in 19 days, which is crazy. And the final piece of news, before I leave you all, and this is the ECB, European Central Bank staff, are not very happy with Christine Lagarde. ECB staff survey shows a lot of discontent with her leadership, and she is extremely anti-crypto, and maybe part of why the staff is not happy is because the economies are suffering. France, Germany, especially of late, are suffering from an economic perspective. Maybe they're throwing rocks at the central banks, so maybe it's just a thankless job. Who knows? But either way, something will change, hopefully soon. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all for coming. Let me know what you think of that new kind of mind map thing to cover all the news you probably missed over the week, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the live Q&A as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Bitcoin's still above 42,000, and things are looking good. Bye all.